call the meeting for the SPC Commission for the Southwest PA Commission to order. And welcome all. And we do have a quorum, as I understand it. Is there any conflicts to declare?
Go ahead.
Today's agenda? Okay, hearing none. I will ask for action on the minutes of the October 23rd meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Macy.
Second, Saracen.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. Anything further? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Comment? No public comment? Okay, we'll move on then, and I'll introduce Tim Morgus and Michelle Hope, from Marjusel CPAs, and he is going to be intentionally short. The third presentation of the audit, and we'll kind of zip through here since it's the third presentation, and we're short on time. So thank you, Tim.
It's our first, don't be too short.
Been known to be told. SBC, this is our third time through. We met with the finance committee, went through the actual reports page by page. We met with the committee earlier today and went through. So we try to spare those that heard the first or the second time through this. So we were engaged to do your audit as of June 30th, 2023. We're here to report on that process. We have a communication to those charged with governance letter that just simply outlines what we did in our audit. We also issued a single audit report because you expend more than $750,000 of federal dollars. We have to do a compliance audit, and we also filed an informational return with the IRS. It's a Form 990. So no one ever looks at a 990 until something goes wrong. So it's better to look at it now. Before somebody is looking for it. They are public and they are readily available. So next slide. So our responsibility is to do an audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and governmental auditing standards and the guidance. So that's the standards we use to conduct our audits. Certainly done on a test basis. We don't look at every transaction, but we have a basis for our opinion. Significant accounting policy, no new significant accounting policies, no accounting estimates that I want to point out. Disclosures are clear, concise, and neutral, pretty straightforward. No difficulties encountered in performing your audit, although you had some pretty significant turnover the last couple of years, but you still are able to get us everything that we asked for in a short period of time. So same schedule as always, which we stayed on track. No corrected or uncorrected misstatements, so we didn't have to adjust your financial statements as part of the audit process, which is good for members of the board to know that your financial statements are accurate as you look at them throughout the year. So next slide. No disagreements with management. Management representation letter will be signed at the end of the audit, just simply management telling us everything to the best of their knowledge and belief. No consultations with other accountants, or we made no arrangements prior to retention of the services. That's all I have. I'll talk briefly about the financial statements. Any questions?
I'll make it brief as well. If we could go to the next slide, please. So you all know you did receive an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion and the type of independent auditor's report you want to receive as an entity. You do have the management discussion and analysis included within your financial statements. And just real quick, the last part, there's some highlights of things that are new or different for you all. With moving into your new space and also having some leased equipment, you have a right to use asset and a lease liability is about $6 million for this year on your government-wide statements. Your revenue expenses are down about 1.5 million or 12.2%. Really relates mostly to your broadband project that was wrapped up last year. And then something that you don't usually have, but you do this year on the fund statements, you have a negative fund balance of $748,000. That's a result of you needing to spend some funds to do some of the build out costs here, but the loan that you took out for that did not happen until after year end. So 6/30 prior to you spent those costs, you got your loan after 6/30. So that will wash itself back to about a break even in the general fund.
Yeah, it's a little different in governmental accounting. Loan proceeds are actually considered financing sources or revenue, so.
On the modified basis. So go to the next slide. We're just gonna flip through these real quick. This is a presentation of where your right to use asset sits for the current year. The next slide shows you where your lease liability is. We go on, and those are both your government-wide, part of your government-wide statements. Next slide is your fund statements, just so you can see the revenues from 22 to 23 did come down. And then the next one is just showing you that negative fund balance there, so you can see that in a presentation. So go ahead on to the next slide. You do your footnotes. Nothing too exciting going on there. Footnote 2 just talks about your pending and adopted pronouncements. Nothing that you had to adopt this year was of any impact to your financial statements. Just to point out, footnote 10 is that lease payable footnote. We've always had a payable lease note footnote, but this is much more expanded with your new space. Your CFUs, your schedule of expenditures of federal award, that shows your federal award spending. You did have to test your federal highway and aid money this year. And under the uniform guidance, you did not have any findings, so that is up good as well. The next two slides, I believe, just about your 990. Those are the various schedules that you all had to attach to your 990. We're not going to go in detail with those. Your 990 is extended to May 15th of next year, but as soon as we get all the fine documents, we will submit that electronically for you all, and then you all be done for the year. And that is it. We don't want to take any more of your time tonight, but if anyone has any questions, we'd like to take those. We do have our contact information if you need to ask us anything after this meeting.
Any questions? Thank you all. Thank
All right.
Vincent for working with him throughout the years. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
We just want to thank Alicia again for her work in helping to prepare the information for the audit. She's done a stellar job, and as well as the staff who assisted in that process. And I think Tim noted that in the earlier meeting, and that despite transition, everything really went very smoothly despite transition here. So that's good news, and additional funding sources continue to be added based on all of the great work the staff is doing. So we appreciate all of that as well. And so the board and executive committee did accept the audit as presented. Well, the Unified Planning Work Program, Don.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Unified Planning Work Program. So this is what we tell our funders in terms of the work that we'll be doing in transportation planning, or in this case, a one-year period. So what this UPWP represents is the transportation planning work that we're going to move forward with from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. It is the work we do to further implement the vision, goals, and strategies in our long-range plan, as well as recommendations that came out of our reorganization plan. The last UPWP was submitted prior to our reorganization. This UPWP aligns the functional work areas with our new organization structure. Next slide, please. All right, just some of the highlights there. Of course, I mentioned implementation of our organizational assessment. Of course, continued implementation of our long-range plan and Smart Moves Connection, a regional vision for public transit plan, regional collaboration and coordination in everything that we do, securing federal discretionary funding and assisting others to secure that funding for high priority infrastructure projects. Andy mentioned in our previous meeting, broadband, continuing our broadband initiatives, and local government assistance as well. Next slide, please. So again, it's a one-year contract between PennDOT and SBC. We say it's focused yet flexible. We want to be flexible in case some planning studies come up that become priority. We want to attack. There are 8 functional program areas: plans and programs, regional transit, transportation demand management, regional freight planning, operations and safety, data and modeling, strategic initiatives and environment, that's a new functional area, and outreach and coordination. And the chart on the right, basically, sort of, shows you sort of the percentage of the funding, that is attributable, that gets attributed to each, functional area. Next slide. In these slides, I'll highlight some of the activities within the functional areas. And I've also included some of the relevant strategies covered by these activities in our most recent long-range plan. Under plans and programs, we have, of course, the TIP update, the 2025-2028 TIP update that we're working on right now. Resiliency planning, we made an application to boost those efforts to the Protect discretionary program, to do a regional resiliency plan to boost the efforts that we're already making. With that plan, we hope to define our future mitigation and needs in relation to climate-related flooding and landslides in our region. Innovative finance and project delivery, and just going after the money that's becoming available out there in terms of discretionary funds. Local government funding and technical assistance. I'll mention under that, in the past year, we've done local bridge workshops. We've talked to municipalities about bridge inspection, funding bridge work, and delivering bridge projects. Next slide, please. Transit planning. We have, again, implementation of the Smart Moves Connections Plan that we've already done. In this UPWP, we hope to complete a public transit, human services coordinated transportation plan. That is about improving overall access to public, private, and nonprofit transportation services available in our region, especially for transportation disadvantaged populations. We want to continue, of course, implementation of our regional freight plan that we worked on a couple of years ago, and potentially studying the economic and transportation benefits of our rivers. EJ mentioned that at our last meeting. Encouraging and planning for alternative modes of transportation counter to the single occupant vehicle. That's what transportation demand management is all about. And under transportation demand management, we have coordination with our transportation management associations, active transportation. We want to do an active transportation plan update and also a complete streets policy. We're in the process of drafting that and working with a work group on that. So, TDM, we're talking van pools, car pools, walking, biking, and micromobility modes like e-bikes and scooters and so forth. Next slide, please. Under operations and safety, a lot of this is continuing, a lot of the good work that we're already doing and just continuing that momentum. Regional traffic signal program that we assist municipalities with traffic signal equipment improvements and signal coordination and retiming. We do road safety audits. We budget about three road safety audits. Any road owner can request those. One corridor operations planning study each fiscal year. We're planning to add one pedestrian bicycle safety audit to this repertoire as well. We get together with emergency first responders to do after action reviews of past incidents to discuss any room for improvements or added tools for them under our traffic incident management program. Congestion management program, we monitor over 100 congested corridor segments in our region for performance metrics like travel time and delay. And ITS strategic planning, we're looking at our current intelligent transportation devices like cameras, detectors, dynamic message signs, and also looking at future device needs and future preparations for connected and autonomous vehicles. Next slide. Data and modeling, those folks are well known. We get a lot of external customers for data and model running, travel demand and accessibility and economic modeling, air quality modeling, traffic counting, that's all under that group. Performance metric tracking, that group is also responsible for tracking our federal performance measures and keeping a dashboard on our website for that. And they also deal with the census data. Strategic initiatives and environment, that is under DJ. This is our new functional area. Again, we call it strategic initiatives and environment, obtaining funding and doing the planning activities associated with environmental justice, electric vehicles, climate action plan, and broadband initiatives. Next slide. And of course, it all wraps together with outreach, public outreach and coordination. That's Caitlin's group. Updating the federally required outreach plans, like our communication and outreach strategic plan, our public participation plan, and so forth. Next slide. So I'll take any questions. In the past 2 months, we have drafted the planning work program and have presented to both our Transit Operators Committee and our Transportation Technical Committee for feedback. And what we are asking in the resolution that's before you is for commission approval to submit our UPWP to our federal funders, FHWA, FTA, and to PEMDA. With that, I'll take any questions. It's a 1 year, no, it's a 1 year plan just this time around because they wanted to sort of recalibrate the timing of this to be in the future to be off the tip schedule.
Okay.
Okay, so this one's just a 1 year plan. Afterwards, after this plan, it'll be every 2 years.
Good, good. Thank you. I couldn't have.
No.
Surely. So are we adopting?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we have a resolution before.
all right. So under action item, resolution 1423. Is there anything else we need to say? We just go ahead and accept this.
Yeah, we're commission approval to submit the UPWP to our federal funders and PennDOT fund.
Is there a motion to?
So move Kevin Booz.
Second. Second, Shereen. Okay. Is there any other questions for Dom or any other comments? It's a lot of work. I like that it's now aligned with strategic.
What's the overall dollar figure? I saw the percentages, but I didn't catch the number.
It's seven.
About seven.
7, between 7 and 8.
I think it's about 7.
7 million.
Or 7 to change, yeah.
Other question?
It'll be added again in a year. Yeah.
Sorry.
That'll be a 3 year plan.
Right, that will be 2 years, but you'll be doing it again in a year.
It should be easier, right?
Yeah.
It's a 173 page document if anyone wants to see it.
All
You
right.
can make it available.
It's critically important to our federal funders.
Oh,
It's a lot of those on.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not as,
What is?
all right. Have a motion in a second, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Since you have all traveled so far and come in person today, I also asked if, very quickly, that Jen and Andy and Dom would give you a quick update on what they shared with the corporate and executive committee, what's happening with broadband and maybe EDD. You don't have to give all the details of your economic report, but I think the Build Back Better update and then DJ a little bit on the 2 strategic initiatives. So if you don't mind, Andy, do you want to take the
Do you
start?
want the slide?
Does it matter?
No, I don't need slides.
Okay.
Yeah, so just a quick update. As you all know, about a year ago, we adopted a strategic plan for broadband deployment and digital equity for the southwestern Pennsylvania region. Over the last year, we've been working to implement that plan. I know many of you attended the broadband summit that we held last year, obviously almost pretty close. So a couple of the things that we've been doing in the meantime is We've started a project that, and I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'm going to talk about the Digital Navigator program first. So what Digital Navigators do is they are people or groups of people or entities that help folks really navigate the internet, how to be safe, how to access benefits, how to access healthcare, things like that in a safe manner, and also how they, for folks that may not be familiar, how they work their devices, whether it be their computers or their routers or whatever it may be. So as a part of the broadband deployment, it's one thing to get folks connected, but when you get folks connected that haven't been connected before, there's a learning curve of sorts. So a few of the counties have went out on their own and done their own Digital Navigator programs at the level. There's one that's kind of underway, and then there's one other county that's shortly to be underway. So in talking with some of the other planning directors from around the region, there was interest in SPC putting together a resource center so that every county that wants to set up a Digital Navigator program or entities within the counties don't have to go out and reinvent the wheel 10 different times. So what we're doing is putting together a resource center that's going to be publicly available, that has lists of potential partner entities and organizations in each county, really to get folks talking about what they're doing and how they may be able to partner with one another, where there may be capacity or where they could share capacity. Some curriculum resources, a regional branding strategy centered around the connectivity improvement program that we did last year, as well as reporting templates and things like that these agencies will need to implement and use in order to secure and in turn report to the funders that they may receive from either the federal government or the Broadband Development Authority or what have you. So that's one project that's just getting underway now. We're meeting with the counties and meeting with folks from the Greater Pittsburgh Digital Inclusion Alliance and the United Way and others to kind of learn the lay of the land and get out and talk to folks. We're looking at wrapping up that project by the end of May, in time for any of the digital equity funding that's coming out for that to be able to be to access. And then secondly, we were able to secure some additional funding from the DCED to do a small business connectivity survey and in turn a strategy guide after that. And I'm going to let Jen talk about this because she's heading up this project. What that consists of is some data gathering of locations and the state of connectivity for small businesses across the region. And then we're in the midst of a survey period for small businesses that we had asked in the previous meeting for you all, being the counties in the city, to help push out. And we can make the link for the survey available to y'all, so to help us get the word out on that. We're looking at wrapping up the survey portion by the end of January, and the strategy guide for the small business to how they can better utilize internet connectivity in their day-to-day operations and business and grow their businesses. So that'll be following the survey. Jen, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
Just look for a link that we're going to be sending out. If you can send this out to your chambers, to your economic development organizations, kind of anybody that works with your small business community, it's very helpful for us to kind of understand what the landscape looks like for our small businesses. For example, we've had a small number of respondents so far, but of those respondents, a really key statistic that Andy talked about at the last meeting was over 70% did not feel they had a strong e-commerce platform. So, and again, as we learned through COVID and other challenges, that has been one of the few things that have helped our brick and mortar businesses survive. So having that e-commerce platform is very, very helpful to businesses. So that'll help us craft additional programs here and with our partners to help our small businesses grow. So look for the link that's going to be coming probably in the next day or so.
And then just to close on that, just, remember for anybody, within the counties or anybody, we do have available resources and technical expertise that we can help with in terms of, submitting mapping challenges or helping you out with any type of data or we have a team of very capable on-call consultants dedicated for broadband work. So that resource is available to you all.
Just have a quick question. You're reaching out to businesses, small businesses, doing surveys. Curious if you're overlapping or maybe consulting with the Census Bureau that's doing a very similar work all over Western Pennsylvania.
So unfortunately, it's probably overlapping with.
Yeah.
So this was something that got put in place back in maybe March, April. We were able to apply for additional funds. So there was additional partnerships for regional economic performance PrEP dollars. And the PrEP partners were able to submit projects but it had to have the key component of it had to touch all 9 counties. So I think you guys know this, but just in case, for SEDS related activities, it's 10 counties, but for partnerships for regional economic performance, DCED and local development district activities, I only have 9 counties. So Lawrence falls to the local development district above us. But so it had to be something where it went across 9 counties. And so that was harder than you would think for the group. But what came out of that was this small business survey for broadband. And the second was to send some businesses to the Fancy Food Show in New York. So again, which both very, very successful. But I would say there's definitely some overlap. I also think truly competing priorities have just been, people are busy. People get a lot of surveys these days. So I think just being able to promote it even more is just helpful.
They're sending field reps out and actually
There's just a link.
they're doing a case management almost with the business and they have to respond like 6 times.
The Census Bureau.
That's a
is
great
doing
question.
Broadband.
Thank you for
They're
that.
doing broadband and business development and they are asking these businesses a lot of questions. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. What are we garnering and where is it going? Because
Census, I can tell you, I was not aware they were doing this. So, would
the
you-
broadband is a piece of it. And I only
Okay.
know because I know a person that doesn't. And it's very interesting to have this sort of.
Yeah, I can tell you, ours truly came from a place of broadband is an important function here at SPC, and we want to know how small businesses are affected by it. We definitely saw it during COVID. One of the things, we did a lot of data analysis even before we kind of had broadband in the CIP process. But COVID destroyed a ton of small businesses, and I know we don't really get into that part of it anymore, but we saw all these mom and pop legacy brick and mortar businesses just get inundated by the inability to be open, the workforce challenges, everything that came along with that. So how small businesses can utilize broadband is really, really important to us because again, we talk about resiliency and what's next. We have to be ready for, God forbid, COVID-2 or whatever that's going to look like or whatever that would be. So that's something that we have a really strong focus on. I think what makes ours a little bit different, and you'll see the guide when it's done, it's truly, it's user-friendly, it's helpful, and it's a survey done by kind of people they know versus kind of strangers with a clipboard or, so I'm thinking, hopefully we can have a greater impact. But what's nice about this is that we know every respondent. So if there was something additional that they needed, we could reach out to that business and say, hey, your small business development center has these classes. Pitt SBDC has a phenomenal e-commerce program. So when I saw that number, my heart sank because I know that those resources exist to help those small businesses. So this is also a really good telling piece for how we can work with our small businesses moving forward.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier, Kevin, because we don't have any responses because the WIP was the partner. So we're gonna try to reach out to Jordan to see if we can for the chamber, the chamber to be engaged in this process. Because of all the various business associations, particularly Slippery Rock, like in the north. We need.
Manufacturers.
And can I-
Show them.
And I can tell you from a process improvement, program improvement standpoint, that's something where, PrEP is dedicated partners, but there's a lot of people. And so, we're us hoping that they're getting the word out. I think I can tell you, at least from my standpoint, my list will grow significantly as a result of this.
Yeah.
So it will.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Just, to the question on the Census Bureau, just from looking at it, during or in the wake of the pandemic, it looks like they opened an experimental data project around small businesses to do a pulse survey. So that may be Blythe was referencing, Commissioner. Yeah. Just
Maybe additional information
to
for
that.
on plan.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I was not even aware of that the Census Bureau decided to jump into broadband.
Yeah, like, huh?
You got internet to check that then.
Yeah. But he's working well inside the produce.
Commissioner Fires,
So how does that survey play into the Michael Baker survey that we all paid to have done on broadband?
If you mean just the general one from here?
Yeah.
It's an accompaniment too. So this was something this is very specific to just small business. It wasn't, it didn't necessarily have the kind of community development. This was very, very specific because it is part for regional economic performance. It was very specific to small business owners.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be, it sounds as though it's more toward the more on the navigation side. So when you go to implement, it's where are those small businesses who may not have access that will have access, and how will they use it and develop it if and when they get that access?
And there's also in the
And would help us build a case for broadband in our areas where there is no.
there's also a resource guide that includes different funding streams that those folks could go out for as well, different resources, things like that. It's so a truly resource guide.
Not having the plan that we finished a year ago in front of me, what's success look like along these lines? Are we trying to set up the region to get more federal funding to then expand broadband? And
That's part of it, yeah. I mean, in terms of, when we started this, we all knew that broadband was an issue. In the long-range plan development, better connectivity in rural areas, affordable connectivity, and then better transit coordination are the two things we heard in almost every one of our counties. But then, COVID came and that just kind of exacerbated it. So we knew we had a problem, but we knew, at the time, the FCC mapping was the only real mapping out there, and it was, honestly terrible. So we didn't have a good idea of what areas were underserved or unserved. Some of the counties were working on their own to expand connectivity. So we did, a series of 3 mapping applications that are on the website. We did the strategic plan. So basically, yeah, it's 1, to raise awareness around the issues, 2, to help folks secure more funding for broadband deployment, and then 3rd, to help folks be connected and affordably and be aware of how to utilize the service once they get connected, essentially.
So the roadmap itself, I think.
Yeah, there's 12.
It was a roadmap for use by counties to be able to navigate this entire BEAD process.
Counties.
In many ways, and entities who
Yes.
are involved and engaged in that. So to the extent that we're able, and I think, I was just thinking here about Adil, you gave such a great presentation in the last meeting, but I think to that end, that plan is going to assist us in working through the process. As you had highlighted, a little more of the financials and how that plays out and what money could be available and what the actual cost could be. We're taking your information, you're providing that to CMU Pitt can provide, along with, what we have as a roadmap, and becomes a resource for counties to be able to implement. Anything else on broadband? Jen, real quick, Build Back Better.
So Build Back Better, we at SPC happen to be the project lead for Project 3, which is a $24 million grant with 18 sub-awards, with the ultimate goal of expanding training and placement opportunities, building a vibrant robotics ecosystem, clear pathways to employment, wraparound services, removal of barriers for those that are looking to train and become employed, being responsive to business, and really creating training hubs that will train and retain our workers, keep them rooted here. There is a new website, which you all will get to hear again. That is www.spc.gov. www.swpanec.org. This website, again, I had it on the other slide, I'm just not making it up. This website basically is the overview of the whole 5 grants, the whole Southwest Pennsylvania New Economy Collaborative, what's going on, a dashboard with all of the data, how the money's being spent, where the money's being spent, kind of a one-stop shop for everything robotics here under this grant. And so giving everybody, we've been in the grant for a year now. So wanted to give you some updates. As you know, we've kind of categorized all of our partners by the Regional Economic Competitiveness Officer, Workforce Education, Labor, Industry Intermediaries, and Industry Eco Builders. And so basically we hired a Regional Economic Competitiveness Officer under this grant through the conference. We've done a lot of data collection and analysis. That team has a great communications team. We did a toolkit for all of our partners to use, so we have standardized kind of outreach materials, et cetera. Website's been created, outreach created. Under the workforce side of things, all of your workforce related trainings have started, which is great. So all of our workforce investment boards have started issuing training, started ITAs, et cetera. They also created a committee. This committee is kind of working together to talk about what the barriers are, what the challenges are, how can we mitigate them. What a huge success story that came out of this is all of the workforce development boards, workforce investment boards aligned all of their policies for this grant so that all of the training will be the same regardless of what county you come from. So anybody who's worked in workforce knows how difficult that is. And so this is a major win. EDA saw this as a huge best practice. Under education, lots of new cohorts, lots of new classes, industry committees. IUP hosted a robotics camp this summer. CMU skill training projects started. Under labor, United Mine Workers Career Center have completed all of their hiring. Recruitment of trainees has started. Industry intermediary, which is considered BOTS IQ. So think of it as a pre-apprenticeship program. They are now in a brick and mortar location and have started their robotics training. Under Industry Ecosystem Builders PRN, Pittsburgh Robotics Network, they have done all of their hiring, all of their outreaches being conducted, they're issuing surveys, they're working with our regional employers, and they hosted Discovery Day in 2022 and 2023. Each of these had over 4,000 attendees, which is a major thing for our city. That's global companies came in, the robots, the car from Knight Rider was there, it's a great day. And then kind of challenges, solutions, how year 1 went. Lots of classes had smaller turnouts. For first year, that's very common. I hope everybody knows that. People need to understand that these classes work. They're exciting, things like that. So we expect to see that increase in the coming months and year. Staff turnover across our awardees. That happened here at SPC. We've seen it about kind of one partner almost a month. That just shows you at 3.4% unemployment, the workforce is booming. And so how we're kind of working through this is standardization of forms, standardization of practices, people reporting, making sure it's easy for everybody to kind of report out on everything they need to do. Competing priorities, new grants. This is really huge. As we continue to see more and more dollars coming out, Build Back Better, you might not hear it as much. Now, some of us have the luxury of working on it day to day. So knowing that this is the case, we want to make sure that we're always aligning what we're doing with the new things that are coming out. So we're not competing with, but we're aligning with. Perceived limited opportunities under robotics was one of the challenges. So one of the things that we've done is we really aligned this with advanced manufacturing, kind of robotics adjacent type of careers as well. And continuing to get the word out about expanded training and then reporting standardization. Again, 18 partners, that's 18 individual awards, lots and lots and lots of paperwork. So what to expect for year 2, thousands to be trained. More successful events, that's Penn State New Ken had a Future Educators Conference, PRN, more Discovery Days, I hope. Job fairs, career exploration events, survey responses from employers, alignment of training to jobs, significant increases in work-based training to robotics organization, the dashboard and website and full kind of out and about numbers for everybody to look at and ultimately continuing to be a best practice to EDA, which we have been. So any questions on Build Back Better?
Thank you.
You say that website one more time?
Sure can. That is www.swpanec.org.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Southwest
Pennsylvania
New Economy Collaborative, NEC.
Yes.
Got it.
Thank you. And DJ, on your strategic initiatives, any updates?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Just
two quick updates I'll give you. First of all, out of the policy committee months ago, we've been working on the Allegheny River and the levels of service on our locks there and preserving that asset for years to come. And I'm pleased to report that we have two kind of parallel initiatives going on. Senator Bob Casey has been working on a legislative fix to at least preserve our levels of service for the next few years. That effort largely will go through the Water Resources Development Act, which is going to be passed through Congress next year. The senator is also working on a separate task force to increase not only the diversification of freight, but the overall commercial traffic on the rivers. And Senator Casey has pretty widespread support from that among the Southwestern Pennsylvania delegation. At the same time, Congressman Guy Reschenthaler, who sits on the Army Corps of Engineers Appropriating Subcommittee, sent a letter to the headquarters of the Army Corps asking them to preserve the levels of service for an extended period of time while we fully assess the economic development opportunities that the river provides, but also while we hopefully increase the traffic, make this whole thing move. So Congressman Reschenthaler had sent that letter. It was co-signed by every member of the delegation from Southwestern Pennsylvania. So both senators and 6 members of Congress. So it's a bipartisan, bicameral effort. It has been the whole time. We're very pleased that this is at the forefront of all of our elected officials' minds. So now we wait for legislation to get passed, hopefully in one way or another, or for the Army Corps of Engineers Inland Marine Transportation System Board to adjust this. But we're very hopeful that we're going to see some positive results here, and that if you have a boat, you're going to be able to take it from Trunk County down into the point and not have to wait days and days for a lock to open. So that's point number one on the Allegheny River. The other thing I'll touch on briefly is the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant. Many of you have heard about this. This is a $1 million planning grant that SPC got from the EPA to develop both a priority and then a comprehensive climate action plan for our region. This effort is going to pull a lot of different metrics. We're going to examine any possible way that we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We're also conducting a full greenhouse gas inventory for every single county and the city of Pittsburgh. The initial plan is due in March and the comprehensive plan is due in 2025. The one thing that one of the many things this plan will do is pull out a specific measures that we can take to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the region. Measures is important because in addition to this planning opportunity that we've received, the EPA has also opened up over $4 billion in implementation funding. That implementation funding is going largely to government. It's going to government or quasi-government entities that can then sub-grant out to other awardees. And that is to undertake specific projects that are going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across the region. In those implementation applications, which are due in April, so we have a March plan and then an April implementation, which is a whole bunch of time. That was sarcasm. So thank you.
I know.
So because we have such a short turnaround, we're communicating right now with potential project sponsors, because whatever measure they want to employ in their implementation application has to be referenced in our plan. So we don't really have a lot of time for these two things to coincide. So we're working on it now. Kathy Tully, who runs our environmental programs department, has been very hard at work going through dozens of emails and phone calls from potential project sponsors to make sure that we're all communicating now. And in an effort to make sure that we're truly on the same page, we're going to do a potential project sponsor workshop in January. So that'll all be coming out to you, all of our commissioners and partners, in a save the date email by the end of the week. And please, we're looking at the first or the second week in January for that. That's going to be an opportunity to hopefully get everybody in a room and really hash this out. But the thing I want to convey to all of you most importantly is, if anyone that's in this room or that's listening online is thinking about doing a implementation grant through CPRG, please reach out to myself or to Catherine Tully. We at least want to have you on the radar, so we make sure that we include your information in that. And I'll just one last thing. We're dealing with the huge volume, so please reach out to us, but also please give us a couple days to get back. That I'll take questions.
Any questions? Thank you so much for giving that update. I think everybody appreciates. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
It's okay. How much of the 4 billion is going to go to Pennsylvania and our region.
It's competitive.
It's competitive, so.
Okay. So we might not get, we don't have a
Yeah.
competitive, okay, yes.
All right. Okay. So, before we go further, a couple things I want to, give Vincent an opportunity here to talk a little bit about another transition.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we've been using the word transition a lot in these three meetings that we've just come through. In another transition, Andy Wapel, our Deputy Director for Programs, will be leaving SPC to go pursue a career in the private sector with a consulting firm. And I wish him nothing but the best of luck. I mentioned earlier, it's emotional for me because he's one of the first people I met when I came here to SPC, and he, talked about the need for change at SPC. I think the word at the time was help, but it was wonderful working with you. You're a man of vision and energy and incredible experience, and I know you're going to succeed, mightily in the private sector working with a consulting firm. It's been a pleasure working with you. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank all of you as well, just for the last 9 years and, working together, and we've done a lot of great things. And like I said in the earlier meeting, I'm not going far. I will be here in Pittsburgh, so I look forward to working with all of you, just in a little bit of a different capacity, but I'll be out to talk to all of you there after the new year.
What's next?
Yeah, we were making sure he wasn't going too far. We kept a half a rope. Thank you. And I also, want to be, this is like the goodbye, hello tour. It's not really goodbye. It's just bon voyage or something. I don't know. We have to take a few moments, first of all, to say that, to thank Vincent for his time here at SPC. I feel very fortunate, along with several others in this room, to have been part of the search process when we brought Vincent on board. And it was, again, a great opportunity to meet different people, but it was very clear in that process, I think, that for those of you who participated, that this was going to be a fabulous leader for this region, and that certainly panned out. It has been a challenging time to walk in during a pandemic, and however, really put us on solid footing, took the time and opportunity to really do some internal assessment. And as Dom mentioned earlier in the plan, really looked at functional areas and reorganized, the staff and organization in a whole new way. And it has been an opportunity to see what the team here can actually do. And it's been pretty remarkable, I think, to see that process, and also to help us get into this space that is much more functional as well, and certainly updated and reflective of the organization and the potential that this organization has. And I think that the corporate board certainly looked at that as, this is a platform to launch and put us on a foundation, the likes of which we probably haven't seen in years. So we certainly appreciate all that we have learned and all that we have taken from both these gentlemen, definitely also from your leadership. So we have, before we go to a reception, we have a gift for you that we will bring out here in a moment on cue.
Wow.
And so this is kind of reflective. Oh, the bow is done. The bow that's on everything here. This is sort of reflective of all of our counties, some things that are made from and manufactured in our counties, along with a gift certificate in there for you and your wife to enjoy. It's called La Maya in Norfolk.
Oh.
We hope you'll like it.
I know it well. Thank you.
All right, so
Thank you.
again, on behalf of the commission and the board, thank you so much for
Thank you very much.
And best
Thank you.
wishes to your family
Thank you very
and
much.
all that you're dealing with, and your wife, and adorable, and hope that all goes well.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure serving you all. And I guess from what I've seen and heard from friends in Washington DC who've been in the military, particularly in the Navy, they don't say goodbye. They just say fair winds and following seas. And so all I say to all of you is fair winds and following seas. It's been just absolutely wonderful. I came here to unleash the power of SPC. It's been unleashed. Now it's all on you guys to use it because they really are here to serve you. I know under new leadership, they will, play to your wishes and really serve as the convening table for this region. I'm always in contact with my colleagues in Washington, DC. I spent 30 years working in Washington, DC, working for US DOT, working with EPA, working for DOE. And Southwestern Pennsylvania is so important to this country. And this agency, this organization represents much of the potential here. And so please stay engaged. Please be vocal as you were with me. And use this staff as your staff to really get things done for Southwestern Pennsylvania. Thank you all so much, and God bless you all. Thank you very much. I've got a folding side table here. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on it.
Well, it's from Adams Manufacturing in Butler County.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Also, I wanted, the next exciting piece of this transition is to say, first of all, thank you to those who participated in the search process for a new executive and members of the corporate board who did that, but especially thanks to Mike Belding, to John Myers, who participated in Pat's Place, to Lynn Heckman, who was a representative for the county in that process, Lisa Frank from the city, Vince, Loretta Spielvogel, Shireen, and anyone else who, was in or out in that process. I did say Mike at the beginning, I think. Okay. And finally, I also, this would have not been possible without the assistance of our legal counsel, Dusty Kirk-Elias. So we're very grateful to her help in the process. Also to Hillman and R.K. Mellon for the funding that allowed us to secure KNA as the consulting firm on this process, who helped us develop certainly a rubric in order to measure, and as well as questions and appropriate description that we already had, which was, well done in the beginning, that they had done the first time around and helped us do that. And with excitement, we then announced the appointment of Mr. Rich Fitzgerald as our new CEO and director for SPC, and we welcome him aboard with much joy. I will say he came also here before we made the official announcement, to meet with staff. And it was an opportunity to bring the staff together and actually go around the room and tell a little bit about the staff and where they came from and what they were about. And that was actually wonderful for me. And I would love to figure out how to do that for the rest of you, because we don't always get the opportunity to see the rest of the team here. And that was really a unique day to see that they come from all parts of our region. And it was, I think, a great opportunity to have some time together, and we appreciate you coming. And he brought biscotti, which his wife made, and doesn't get better than that. So Rich, welcome aboard. And I don't know, Dusty, if you have any comments. If not, I'm going to give Rich the floor, but either way, go for it.
I just wanted to thank everybody who was on the search committee. It took a lot of time, and everybody I think that was on it was very active and engaged. And I didn't attend all the interviews. In fact, I don't think I attended most of them, but we did make sure that everyone was asked the same questions and had the same scoring card. And so that everyone was treated the same during the interview process. So really, that's all I wanted to add, and turn it over to Rich.
Well, first of all, thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank all of you, particularly those on the executive committee, the board. it's kind of ironic that when I was vice chair of this board 4 years ago, we did begin that process of changing the organization, doing a national search. Larry Maggi was chair at the time, along with Leslie and Penny Medeo. The four of us went through that process, national search. It's literally 4 years ago, almost to the day, December of 19. We unanimously thought, wow, this guy is going to take it to the next level, and he has. And I want to thank him for doing a lot of the work to really put the staff in a position. It's a tremendous staff. When I met with them, and I'm sure Commissioner could share with, as we met, 40 or 50 of them, 45 of them, I think, showed up that day. The talent and the energy and the enthusiasm to help all 10 counties as well as the city of Pittsburgh is there. So Vince has unleashed it. It's now my job to keep it unleashed, keep it going in that direction. And to that end, we look forward to being out in all 10 counties in the city to hear the newly elected commissioners who will be taking office in a few weeks, along with the new county executive here in Allegheny County. And I actually look forward to not being political anymore. People call me up and say, can you come to my fundraiser? And I get to say no without it. Or come to my, so it's a new role that I'm really excited to do. And again, what Vince has done is really set us on a good path. And it's my job working again with all the staff and with all the commissioners to go to the next level. This is my home. I didn't really want to go anywhere else to Washington, or no disrespect to my friends in Washington, or we'll go visit them to get money.
Absolutely.
Or Harrisburg to get money. So thank you. I'm looking forward to working with all of you in the months to come. So thanks.
Yeah, I just have to add this because I can, before Rich arrived, when we were meeting with the staff, somebody asked the question, well, what's he really like? And I said, well, the first thing that comes to mind is you have 8 children, is that correct? Yes. I said, the first thing that comes to mind is he has 8 children and is very much in tune to his family and loves to ride his bike. I said, so those are the 2 things that I think of first when I think of you. So, and I think that's really important. And then when
Vince and I have done a couple.
and then he showed up with the biscotti, so couldn't get better. We're excited about the future and ready to work together, so thank you. Right, our next meeting then will be in February. This agenda, February 26th. If anybody have any other business? If not, I want to wish you all a very wonderful holiday and whatever you're celebrating. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Anything else we'd like to celebrate? I'm happy to celebrate. So with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn, and please join us for a little reception.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.